A penalty shootout is when the game is tied in a knockout game after 90 minutes or after extra time. So they go to the penalty shootout to declare the winner. A normal penalty is just when someone does something against the rules in the 18-yard box and the ref gives a penalty to the other team. Step 1. Selecting the players. Math shows that the coach should never make their players choose the order. He or she should never just ask who's up for a penalty. They should pick their order no matter who does or doesn't want to take the penalty, and that's final. Research shows that if the less experienced shoot first and the best players shoot last, it's an advantage. Not quite math yet? Hold on. Step 2. Now it comes to taking the penalty. When it comes to the keeper, there's something called a diving envelope. This so-called envelope is an area where the keeper can reach in the goal. Basically, the keeper most times can't reach everywhere in the goal, and the envelope shows where they can reach, and if you shoot the ball beyond the envelope, you're most likely to score. It shows that just over 80% of shots that are placed beyond the envelope have scored. But even if you can even score inside the envelope. Research shows that 50% of shots that are taken inside the envelope score. Step 3. Mental focus. Obviously, stress affects sport performance. There's somatic stress, which is when your heart rate goes up, your palms are sweaty, and so on. Then there's cognitive stress, when negative thoughts fill up your mind when a big performance is needed. If you just go into a penalty shootout, imagining your shot being one that is outside of the envelope and that is in a place the keeper can't reach, you're most likely to score. Now we're really onto some math. Okay, so now onto the keeper. For the keeper, it's most difficult. When a pro player takes a penalty, the time it takes for the ball to travel towards the goal is 0.4 seconds. That's how long it takes you to blink. So that's why the keeper isn't expected to save that much shots in a penalty shootout. So their only hope is to guess where the ball will go and to dive before the ball is kicked, so they actually have a chance of saving it. Lots of keepers watch the players they are about to play and see which way they kick their penalties most of the time. One time a sports mathematician told Chelsea before a match against Man United that if Cristiano Ronaldo pauses on his run-up, there's an 85% chance he'll kick to the keeper's right. It worked. Ronaldo paused on his run-up and Chelsea's keeper followed the man's advice and dived right and saved the penalty. The man who told Chelsea this was Ignacio Palacios Huerta. Chelsea didn't win, but it did prove a point that stats weigh heavily in penalty shootouts. Also, to prove how hard it is to save penalties, research shows that 72.5% of World Cup penalties have gone in. For other competitions, it's higher. Human response time takes about 1/10 of a second to kick in, and the average kicker kicks the ball at 70 miles per hour, which means the goalie won't even notice the ball's direction until it's 25 feet away from the goal. It will then take 0.5 to 0.7 seconds to react to the ball and try and make the save, and by that point, it's all over. Alright, so let's look back at some stats. The chance of a player scoring a penalty in normal play, which is just like a normal penalty, is around 80%. In a penalty shootout, about 75%. This is said because in a normal penalty, you can score the rebound, but in a penalty shootout, you can't. Also, because in a normal penalty, you can pick from the best player to take it as much times as you get one. But in a penalty shootout, everyone has to take a penalty before the best player can take twice. The last reason is that the keeper, as the shootout goes on, is getting warmed up in trying to save penalties. So as it goes on, the keeper tends to save more penalties because he's saving more and more, and he gets more and more warmed up. As in when it's a normal play, he only has one. He doesn't get to get warmed up. There also are teams that tend to do really well. Teams like Germany and Argentina. Let's not talk about England. Germany has won 80% of their penalty shootout encounters. Meanwhile, England has only won 17%. It is said this because England fails to mentally prepare properly, and when it comes to practicing penalties, they don't take it that seriously. Germany, on the other hand, does the complete opposite.